everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Graduate Series, the podcast. On today's episode, I have a gentleman who epitomizes positivity, determination, defying the status quo, and keeping faith in God. TJ. TJ has built his career and years of work experience as an A&R, as well as broadcast journalist in Africa before migrating to the United Kingdom. On today's episode, he talks about how his early childhood has paved the way for his career. He talks about the challenges that he has faced maneuvering such a competitive industry, living with albinism, and other challenges along the way. In today's episode, TJ talks about how his early childhood paved the way for where he's at now and helped him. He also talks about the challenges when it comes to maneuvering such a competitive industry, living with albinism. He shares with us useful tips into how to find a healthy balance between never feeling like you don't fit in, but also accepting the help and support that is available. Today's episode was raw, inspiring, and very vulnerable. Also, before getting into today's episode, I would like to apologize as there was a slight technical issue. However, I felt like the depth of the discussion was so important that I wanted to get the video out. But please rest assured that moving forward, I will endeavor to make sure that this doesn't happen. Anyways, without further ado, grab your cuppa, get comfortable, and let's get into today's video. As always, if you enjoy, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your loved ones, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. TJ! Hey, TJ.
Hi, Alexa.
Welcome to the Graduate Series.
Thank you.
It's lovely to have you here today. I am so excited for our conversation.
I am too. It's lovely to be here.
Well, thank you so much for your time. So before getting into the chat today and actually finding out a little bit more about you, who you are, etc., I felt like, I usually like for my guests to feel a bit comfortable. So I want to ask you some icebreaker questions.
Okay.
Nothing too difficult, just to, lighten up the mood. Are you ready?
Okay, let's go for it. Let me sit for this one.
Not the sitting. I thought you were laying down comfortable on the sofa.
It's icebreaker. Broken the ice.
Exactly. Okay. So what has been something that has been bringing you joy recently outside of work?
Outside of work. Something that, how recent though?
It could be today, it could be last week, it could be this whole quarter, because obviously we're about to finish the quarter for the first quarter of the year, right? So
I'll say last week, one of the second part of the second season of one of my favorite shows came back, Beauty in Black. Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black.
I haven't watched that.
You need to watch it.
Is it actually good? Because I feel like Tyler Perry sometimes he starts to do a lot.
Well, I would just say, I would say that I love the storyline. Tyler Perry is a really great storyteller.
Yeah.
Obviously, apart from all the nude scenes and the +18 and all of that, but it's an amazing storyline and it was very interesting. I enjoyed seeing the characters develop, over the seasons. But yeah,
amazing.
Shout out to Tyler Perry.
Shout out to Tyler Perry. Okay, and then what is a small, slightly irrational thing that annoys you more than it should?
Irrational is a big word.
Irrational also, I feel like, can be quite subjective. Because like you and I were just talking now about like even like punctuality. Right?
That's already what it is. that's something that annoys me. Punctuality. I feel like your first sign of respect to me as a person is being early.
Yeah.
Being on time. And I understand unforeseen circumstances, but communicating that something is happening. Just keep me in the loop. Don't leave me in the dark and say, it was just 5 minutes, it was just 10 minutes. But I made plans to be there on time.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's me. That's for me. Don't be late. And if you're going to be late, let me know.
Yeah, and then actually be like forthcoming about it, because you and I were literally just saying, if you say to me, I am running 30 minutes late.
Yeah.
As much as that's not ideal or convenient, at least you let me know, so that if, for example, I was running out of my house so that I could make it on time.
Slow down.
Exactly.
I'll go about my order because I have a life. I wasn't created to this world to wait for you.
Exactly.
You get, so just let me know. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like only those people who get it.
That is it. If you don't get it, forget about it.
No, that's so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So are you feeling Relaxed.
No, I'm always feeling relaxed. So I don't really think I need to put up a part. I think I just need to be myself.
Absolutely. And that's
Yeah,
what I really hope that, any guest that comes here can do.
yeah,
But okay, so now let's get into the nitty gritty.
yeah.
So I feel like, who is TJ?
Hmm.
You can start from childhood. You can start from even, yeah, where did you grow up? Who were you when you were growing up? What kind of child were you? And who are you today? What is it that you do?
Hmm. To be honest, I don't think of what today that found the answer with TJ, but like maybe just a brief bio
Yeah.
about myself. Maybe that's what it is from the beginning,
In
from
the
the genesis in the
beginning.
beginning. You get what I'm trying to say. So I grew up. I'm the last born of four. Grew
Mm.
up with a family of four. I have an elder brother that is a PWA. That's a person living albinism, and I have two melanated siblings. That if that's the word
Ah.
for it. Um, yeah, my father is an aeronautical engineer. My mom is a jack of many trades, but one of
Mm.
it's a retired banker, a nurse. She's lived many lives.
Wow.
So obviously born in Nigeria, spent 25 years of my life in Nigeria. Um, I went by secondary school, Baptist Academy. I'm just giving, even though I don't know whether it matters, but I went to University of First Choice, Unilag, for my first degree.
Unilag.
Yes,
Most Nigerians that I meet in the UK say they've gone to
yeah,
Unilag.
because Unilag
Is
boys
it a
are
big uni?
is. I'm
Like,
not
if you
trying
were
to
to
be
compare,
biased.
if you were
Yeah,
to compare it to like a uni in the UK, what equivalent would that be to?
Unilag, because that would still be a biased response. I would say Unilag is like University of Greenwich.
Ah,
You
okay,
get like
okay.
on the standards of like popular universities. You understand? I would say
Yeah,
University of Lagos is first off is still it's not the only university in Lagos,
yeah.
but it's the most popular, most sociable, most social,
Mm-hmm.
most outgoing. Academics, everything. The school is up there. The legacy is out there. One
Yeah.
of the greats. Any great person, most of the great people that you see that are thriving in the world or in Nigeria, most of them are products of University of Lagos, and I take pride in
He
that.
said he's not biased.
I'm not biased. I'm trying my best not to be biased. But yes, I went to University of Lagos.
Yeah.
Got my first degree in theater arts. From
Mm.
the Department of Creative Arts. Yeah, and I delved into broadcast journalism amongst many other things because you know how it is. You are you're finding yourself every day. But I
Yeah.
found out that I really love like presenting and talking and hosting and all of that. So I was doing that in uni while
Yeah.
I was also doing that outside school.
Yeah.
And when I finished, I found myself really leaning towards that. So I got a job at some point, for one of the biggest entertainment stations in Nigeria, Hit TV, as a reporter and a presenter.
Wow.
I did that for like a year plus. But before then, I've been doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
I also dabbled at one point in my life into nightlife. I was working in nightlife, for I've done, what they say, any work. I've hustled, legit hustle,
Exactly.
of course, but found myself here now.
Yeah.
I think that's in summary.
So the titles. So you talked about broadcast journalism.
Mm-hmm.
You are or were an A&R as
Still on
well.
A&R, yeah.
And all those other things. Who were you creatively, and how did that early version of you shape the path that you then ended up choosing? So even when you think back to like uni, before uni, did you always think you were creative?
Mm-hmm. You know what? To be honest, I really respect that adage that says that we are on a constant journey of finding ourselves.
Mm,
Before uni, I knew that I didn't want to be in the science. I knew I wasn't
okay.
interested. I didn't like mathematics. Not just that I didn't like mathematics. I was not just interested in anything that was science oriented.
Yeah.
And this is crazy because my dad is an aeronautical engineer, and everyone in
Oh
my house,
wow. Yeah. Yeah.
went on the path of the sciences. I was the only one that went on the art path. But I thank God for my elder sister because she saw what I didn't see at that time, and
Mm-hmm.
she didn't discourage me. She continued encouraging me. So
Mm,
when I was in secondary school and I had to pick science. So in Nigeria, when you're in SS1, that's like senior secondary school,
okay.
you get to pick science, art, or commercial. You get so that like really defines your path. You get,
Yeah.
and I went on to pick the arts.
Okay.
And that was because I was really interested. But at that point, I didn't really know what I was interested in.
Yeah.
But I dabbled in theater arts. I just knew that I just love everything about art. I would say it was when I was in uni that I maybe thought to myself that I really like organization, planning, directing, producing. So I was focusing on that. it didn't mean that I could not pick up a script and
Yeah.
act a script or anything, but I just knew that this was what. But creatively, I feel like it was maybe when I was in secondary school, I was happy to listen to music and I was very familiar. I think that it was there, but my
Yeah.
brother woke that up in me. So
Wow.
yeah, that I can never forget that, because now when people are saying what's your first introduction to music, I always remember my elder
Exactly.
brother.
You know what I also really like is just that, most of the time people talk about like maybe someone or something that shaped the direction in which they went into. And I love that obviously your siblings
Yeah,
played that really big part. And from what you're saying, it seemed like it was very unintentional in the
yes,
sense that like obviously they've gone on to do something completely different, not in the arts or creative route, but
yeah,
then they birthed that in you, which is really beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah. And then can you think of like maybe like any other experience or anything else in the course of obviously you growing up, um, and paving your way through, that has continued to build that creative, artistic side in you?
Yeah, I think one I remember, excuse me, one that I remember, I won't necessarily say, I'll still say growing up, but I was already in the position that I had a sense of reason to know what I wanted for myself, was when I was going into university. And my dad, because he was not really familiar with the arts,
Yeah.
he thought that the only reasonable thing you can do with the arts is study law or study English, you get. And I knew I didn't like law.
Yeah.
And
I can see you being good at law.
but I don't think I have the capacity for the
Yeah,
books,
the yeah.
I don't believe, unpopular opinion, God bless all the lawyers out there, but I don't believe in, cramming constitutions from years where I wasn't born, just to prove a case. Respect to the lawyers. It's just, I don't think it works. It can't work for me. That's why, so it's one thing, you need to be honest with
You
yourself,
need to know what, yeah.
and I knew that it wasn't for me, but
Yeah.
I knew the things I was interested in. I was really interested in theater arts. I was really interested in acting, talking, presenting, all of that. But how would I tell my dad? It didn't make sense to me. So
Yeah.
I remember going into uni not to study law, because I went through a diploma program,
Hmm.
but to study English, because I told my sister I can't do law, but I can do English. Even that English, my dad wasn't really satisfied. But you know how sometimes, I don't think it's the same for all parents, because I'm not going to put that as a single
Yeah.
story. But my dad was on the sideline. He was watching me to see what I wanted to make out of it, but he wasn't so actively participating in my journey. And I think from that really shaped me from a very young age to understand that whatever decision I make is mine, and I need to be willing to bear the consequences of my decisions. I started
Mm,
taking charge of my life from them, because I knew that if this thing works, it's on me. If it doesn't work, it's still on me. But I will
mm.
rather try.
I love
So
that.
that's always been me. And even right now, as a grown up adult, when I'm facing challenges, I'm like, whatever decision I make, I know that I'm ready to bear the consequences of this decision, because I
Exactly.
made it myself, and I don't need any pity party. I know I did this, and I'm still learning.
Exactly.
So back to that story quickly, just to finish it. Um, I went into diploma to study English,
Hmm.
and I did English for like the first year, and something happened. They changed the marking scheme. So the idea behind diploma is, once you do that course, you're going directly into 200 level. I had
Okay.
to do 4 years, 400 level, but something happened, and we had to write an exam that was going to decide our fate. And they cancelled the results for the first semester. So they told us that um, our our qualification into 200 level is solely based on that second semester exam, and that's never happened in the history of the university. Plus
Yeah.
and minus of it, I got two B's and one F. In my
Oh wow.
F,
Oh
like, it
wow.
really took me aback. But
Yeah.
and what was crazy was, to get into English, I only needed 1 point, and the 1 point would have come from that F. So I had two B's, and by the scoring system, that's four.
Yeah. Yeah.
4 plus 4,
Yeah.
8. I just needed 1 point to qualify
Oh
for.
yeah.
So I was stuck in between actually appealing, because I appealed. I said F is like I didn't write the exam, like I was absent. How can I ask them? I said it's not
Yeah.
logical. How can I get two B's and one F? Like, look into this case, like, look at my past record, even my first
Hmm.
semester. It didn't make sense to me, but it was part of God's plan. And then at that point, there and then, I had a conversation with my sister, and she said, what do you want to do if you're not going to do English? Because I had the opportunity to port to any other course in my
Hmm.
faculty apart from English.
Yeah.
And then it came to me that maybe this might be my opportunity to port to theater arts, the course I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that's how I found myself. So I remember going to the HOD or one of the lecturers in theater arts and saying, I want to come to theater arts. I have this result already. I think the cutoff for theater arts was about 5 points or so. Then I was like on
Okay.
8 points. I qualified. And he just told me at that point, he was like, what what were you waiting for? Because he'd seen me, I borrowed elective courses from theater arts when I
Yeah.
was doing English. So he kind of knew that I really liked it. And
Exactly.
I got on the merit list for theater arts, and that's how I started my journey in theater arts.
I
And I
love
cannot
that.
imagine what life would have been if I went on to study English. I don't know what,
Absolutely.
you can never know until when you're in that
Absolutely.
situation. But yeah, that really shaped
But even
my
the way
path.
things worked out, like the fact that you got that F, which then prevented you from
That
even
was
being
God
able.
right there.
Yeah.
It's solely divine by God. So even when things go left, I'm just like asking what next. I'm not asking I'm asking what next. I'm not saying
Yeah.
I'm miserable. This thing is bad. I'm like,
Yeah.
God, like this has happened. So what is next for me? What are you trying to tell me? And I put my ears down to listen. But I didn't know that back then because I was still growing my faith. But now that every time I look back and I recollect,
Absolutely.
I'm like, I'm not here by chance. This is
Exactly.
God's plan. And obviously a good part of showing up, because God blesses the hands of those that do the work. You get,
Absolutely.
so what blesses the
Exactly.
work of our hands. Yeah.
I love that. Hindsight is also a very beautiful
Yes.
thing. Okay, so now I would like us to speak a little bit more about your current path.
Okay.
So, the music and entertainment industry which you're in can obviously look very exciting from the
Hmm.
outside, very busy as well.
Yeah.
So, what did it actually take for you to find your footing in it to start with? I'm also very intrigued to know like the difference between finding your footing in the UK versus in
Hmm.
Nigeria, where you're
Hmm.
originally from.
Hmm.
But also, what were some of like the real challenges that you faced, and that really surprised you the most?
Okay, so let's start with Nigeria. What was it like to find my
Mm-hmm.
footing in Nigeria?
Yeah.
To be honest, like if you talk to any Nigerian that has either worked in the entertainment space or is trying to find themselves, I think that at an early stage of my life, I understood that there's no such thing as luck. You know,
Mm,
um, luck for me, as the popular saying goes, is when preparedness meets opportunity.
yes.
So I also believe in sowing small seeds every day. So what just happened to me was, it was just the right time and I was ready and I'd done the groundwork before then. So Nabuti they were the first people that put me on. They gave me my first hosting gig. It was a big deal because it was at Federal Palace Hotel. Nigerians will understand that. And that was like the genesis for a lot of things. Prior to
Yeah.
then, I got acquainted with a brand called Purple. It was created for young people clamoring for equal opportunities for both sexes. But
Okay.
they had like big funding, and it was for non was with a non-governmental organization called Voices for Change. They
Yeah.
had funding and affiliations with the UN and all of that. But that was in uni. So
Mm-hmm.
everything I am now was because I put myself out there when I was in uni. And if I tell you how
Absolutely.
I found out about Purple, I was just walking one day, and I just saw they were doing a sign up, and I asked them what were they doing, and I read up on it. I said I'm interested, and then I continued, engaging with them, and I became their brand ambassador, and they started flying me around
Yeah.
Nigeria. That's how it happened,
Wow. Okay.
So, but then like that led to something else, that led to something else, that's led me to sitting in this room today with you. You get, so if I would pick anything that really, helped me to find my path, was just showing up. And
Yeah.
as simple as showing up looks, it's the hardest thing to do, especially
Absolutely.
when life is life. But for every time, I always knew that there's nothing I've done that has been in vain. I might not see the need now, I might not see the importance now, but
Yeah.
I know that in the long run, 3 years from now, I'm going to look back at it. What we are doing now, this conversation we're having, we're
Yeah.
keeping receipts, because we're going to look back at this conversation and say, so lecturer, remember when for the camera, I say, Raphael, I remember when we're sitting, here, we're talking about this, so I
Yeah.
really enjoy. I think one thing I've always done is document the journey too, so that helped me along, because Nigeria is a there's something that's called recency bias. Like if they don't see you doing something, they don't want to
Yeah.
ask, they will need to see what you have done. So
Exactly.
every day I keep on putting myself out there, and yeah, I think that was how I entered. And challenges, and or like maybe like the shock that I found out, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
in comparison to Nigeria, the entertainment space. To be honest, I don't really think that there's anything that's really significant that I said is a difference. All I'll just say is that it's easier to get into this space through hard work,
Mm-hmm.
strictly hard work, than in Nigeria. And this is not to talk down on the industry or the system, but I know a lot of talented people back home that I've always prayed that, God, please just give them the right opportunity to shine. They have
Mm,
not gotten into date, and it's not because they are not good. It's just because there's a lot of like gatekeeping comes in two different forms. There's the gatekeeping of some people at the higher up are not letting their hands down and just keeping them on. There's also the gatekeeping of the people that are down are not trying to see how many people they can take along with the journey. So
Oh,
it doesn't end
yeah,
at those
yeah,
guys
yeah,
at the
yeah,
top.
yeah.
It's also our
Absolutely.
responsibility as
Absolutely.
being, lower in the hierarchy to make sure that we are also going together. So that's the difference. In gatekeeping looks different
Absolutely.
in the Nigerian music industry, entertainment industry to the UK. The UK, you and someone can be struggling. You're on the same level, but that person will think if I don't show this person this thing, at least I'll be better than them. But it doesn't make you better than me. We are still struggling. You get
Exactly.
so you get what I'm trying to say. So I've met a
Absolutely.
lot of people, yeah, maybe they obviously started the journey before me and they just felt I won't tell TJ this thing because if he
Yeah.
knows about it, he might get it
He
before me
may,
and then they won't
yeah.
share it. And I eventually find out. You see the thing, that's what always happens,
Exactly.
and I don't find out through them and they don't take the credit for it. God takes the credit.
Yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
just and one way or the other I found out that they know about the opportunity and I'm like, okay, but why didn't
They
you
were
tell me?
gatekeeping.
You get so that's just the difference, and I don't know why this came now, but just looking back, I think that that's something that's a major difference. Yeah. So the gatekeeping is
Absolutely.
from the in Nigeria. We have this camaraderie. We're always trying to, in the industry. If you're in the right circle, everybody's trying to hold themselves up and saying,
Yeah.
all my friends still date. Even some of my friends that moved to the United Kingdom, it was because we had that camaraderie. That's why we were able to still we're able to still do a lot of things here,
Mm,
because we've had it like from way back, like you get.
exactly.
But moving here, the new friends, everybody's trying to. I think there are a lot of opportunities out here. They're looking. If I can't get something from this guy, then it's not useful to me. So I'd
Yeah.
rather keep my distance. They would not keep their distance so far away. They will still be looking around. The moment
Exactly.
something is popping for you, you see them in your
That's
DMs.
when,
You
yeah.
see them, and you can't be mad. My mom used to say success has many friends, so you can't be mad at it.
Yeah. You said a lot of really big things and really important things. I even feel like we could really just end it here. No, I'm
I know,
joking.
right?
No, because you did like a lot of what you said, even that whole part about showing up. And it sounds so simple, but it's so real. And
Yeah.
it's very difficult, especially when you go through a phase with your mindset. And
Mm,
even as like Christians, when we talk about, let's say, your flesh versus, your spirit, and how your flesh, your mind will tell you,
yeah.
this is what's in front of you. You're not
Mm,
making any progress. And so
yeah.
you're almost fighting your own mind as well and being like, well, no, because you don't know what, like that seed
What the
that you're
next day
planting and
would?
you're
Yeah.
watering every day, it's eventually going to like
Yes.
grow up to be a beautiful tree or whatever
Yes.
else. So just keep showing up, keep doing this stuff,
Mm,
keep putting yourself out there.
mm,
That really resonated with me.
mm.
And then the second thing that you spoke about was obviously documenting things.
Yes, I do. I do that a
And
lot.
I love that because that actually brings me to my next question.
Ooh.
So you created a documentary,
Yes, I did.
and that documentary touches on something that's very deep and personal
Mm.
and very important to you. So for the viewers, first, you want to kind of tell them what the documentary is about, but also what compelled you to tell the story.
So the documentary.
It'll be in the link will be below.
Okay, thank you, Rafaela. I'm actually getting comfortable to call you Rafaela.
Yeah,
You
thank
like
you.
it?
I do.
Okay, so Rafaela.
I like all the names. I just
Uh,
don't like Alex. Don't ever call me
no, I
Alex.
like Alexia. It's
Thank
just that
you.
Alexia. Oh, I mean, so what was I saying? Oh, the documentary. So the
Yeah.
documentary is titled "Black Creatives Are Winning," and I produced, directed the documentary. And this came at the time when I just moved to the United Kingdom. The truth behind that documentary is it was a school project for my masters. Yeah, so
Mm.
I was asked to create a piece for my masters when I've forgotten the particular course, but I know that the objective of that course was to show the intersectionality between race, class, and gender.
Okay.
And I was supposed to do a creative piece, either a zine, a docu, whatever. But
Wow.
TJ, I mean, I like to do the most. I'm extra faster. I like giving them, you get.
That's
So I was
it.
like,
That's
okay,
it.
how can I give them in a
Yeah.
way that feels more authentic to me and in
Hmm.
a way that I know that I want? Because every time I do anything, I want to leave imprint. I'm so big on,
Love
like
that.
leaving my mark and my imprint and making sure that I have like the footprints everywhere. So I said,
Absolutely.
what can I create that will not just be something that will be in passing just for school? Because when I started my master's, that's one thing I wanted to be so intentional about. I said, I've come from Nigeria,
Hmm.
right? I know what I know. I'm open to learning, but they
Mm.
don't know what I know. So I said
Mm.
I need to show them, teach them what I know.
I love
So
that.
while I was learning, I was also showing them, and I think that really put me in a good place, even like generally. I graduated with a distinction, so I
Okay.
had to say that because it was one of my
Okay.
biggest, like, all my life is one of my biggest achievements because it
Yeah.
looked very impossible even moving from Nigeria. Like I didn't, it was so surreal. Like I didn't think it was achievable,
Mm-hmm.
and doing that and coming out excellently well
Yeah.
so far. So maybe when I get married, will be my next big achievement. Even though people say marriage is not an
Amen.
achievement, but for me, it's an
No, it's a
achievement because I've
beautiful,
seen
yeah.
Shaggy on the streets with women. So just kidding, just kidding. But for now,
Achievement.
my documentary is one of the not just my documentary, graduating with a master's,
Absolutely.
and and
Distinction. Yeah.
sending myself to school too. First time in my
Ooh.
life I'm doing that, and that was a big feat for me. But now
Can we
back
talk
to
about that a little bit?
we
Sending yourself to
yeah, I
school.
paid my school fees myself,
Wow. How long did it take you to like save? And for
save.
anyone out there who's in that situation, like, what would be your advice?
Let
Because
me
that's a big
what
thing.
can I say about that? Do I recommend? Of course, because I will always tell people to go for what they want, even when
Absolutely.
it looks impossible to anyone. Because when God puts a dream in your heart,
Yeah.
that dream is for you.
Yeah.
So many people will not see it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not in your position to explain many times. One thing you will not do is not pursue that dream. So
Mm,
that was what it was for me. Like
mm,
I was willing to, I did everything legit to
yeah.
hustle my school fees. I was going to school and working. I was just shuttling everything. Opportunities also came at that time to um just God just found a way. When I was
Yeah.
at the dire minute or the dire point of paying my school fees, I got help again. Someone reached out to me
Wow.
and said, TJ, how much do you have left on your school fees? I want to borrow you this amount.
Wow.
God was really on it. But all I just say is, if I had any advice, I would say pray about it. Number
Mm-hmm.
one, pray about it. Ask for direction. If
Mm-hmm.
you've gotten the call to do it, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And do not look at what the situation is looking like. Focus on the one that owns every situation, and
Woo!
that's God. And continue. And it's easier said than done. I know that it can be hard because I had my phases when everything was not looking good.
Mm-hmm.
But I just continue saying this calling, this dream, it's not just me. God is on it, and
Absolutely.
and He showed me. So yes, have that plan. Take it to God and say, this is a good plan, boy. Please, God, I want to know if it's your plan for my life, if
Yeah.
it's God's plan. I've heard it can be a good plan, but is it God's plan?
Exactly.
So yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Apart from that, and I promise you, it might not happen how you think it would. Like
Yeah.
you might not just get 15,000 pounds in your bank account, but for every step, God will continue to give you signs to show. Because I paid fifteen
Exactly.
thousand pounds on my school fees. You understand? Now, just to quickly round off on that documentary part.
Yeah.
So the idea behind documentary was to show, because I've always understood in my life, one of the values that my mom instilled in all of us was contentment.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that winning can look different for different people. I'm
Mm-hmm.
fortunate to have a lot of friends that are celebrities in quote.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not a celebrity, and
Yeah.
but I'm grateful for my journey because I've
Absolutely.
always focused on my journey.
Mm-hmm.
So we are all winning. Black creatives are winning. So the documentary was just to, first spotlight just 4 black creatives from
Yeah.
different creative, endeavors on different levels.
Yeah.
But one thing is constant amongst all of them: they are winning.
Your life is clearly the epitome of that. Like, God literally coming through every single time, and you continue to trust Him and
Yeah.
just carry on. And I think that's really beautiful.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much for sharing that. But yeah, guys, so go check out the documentary. It'll be in the
It's on
link.
2,000 views now. Get it to 3,000 views.
But okay, so I would like us to turn the conversation now to talking about albinism, because we
Okay.
talked about that earlier when you
Mm-hmm.
were describing your two
My
siblings who
siblings,
are
yes,
melanated.
melanated, love them.
And then your personal story. Is
Yeah.
that okay?
Of course.
How has living with albinism
Yeah.
shaped the way that you see yourself,
Mm.
from being a child back home, to then your days now being here in the UK? There was a colleague of mine that I was having a conversation with,
Mm-hmm.
because she works with someone who has albinism, but
Mm-hmm.
then, like, here in the UK, I haven't seen nearly as many people. Whereas back home, like, because I've grown up in Africa as well, you
Mm-hmm.
saw a lot of people. So then you're
Mm-hmm.
exposed to that, you're educated about that, where some people aren't aware. So that colleague was telling me how in the office, for example, there were other people who make ignorant comments, or who
Uh,
aren't as, like, aware of
Mm-hmm.
what that is, etc., and some of the challenges that someone may have with that. So,
Mm-hmm.
how has your experience been, and how has that made you either silence how the world sees you, or made you feel motivated to actually challenge people's perception of people with albinism?
Hmm. I don't want to sound like a broken radio. That's the first thing. That's why I took a deep breath, because I've those that know, and of course you know, so I do a lot of work in advocacy and
Yeah,
all. But for every conversation that I have answering this question, I always want it to be not just from what I know, but from like every new experience I've had up until the point of that answering that question.
yeah,
So there were times I've said some things in 2020 or 2012 that I said some other things in 2022, and it was kind of contradicting what I said in
yeah,
20, because I'm also finding myself to
yeah,
every day. Um,
absolutely.
Fortunately, albinism is a lifelong condition. It doesn't go away at one point, so it's literally your life.
Yeah,
So what I said at 20 might be different from what I'm saying at
of course.
29. You
Yeah,
get, because of my lived experience comes as I go every day.
absolutely.
So let's take it back to the beginning.
In the
In the
beginning. Okay,
beginning,
let's take it
so
back.
I would say that I grew up I grew up in an environment where I did not feel different. And this is a rare
Mm,
privilege. I do not take it for
mm,
granted. My dad, my mom, my siblings, they never really made me feel different.
yeah,
So I was doing everything that, obviously, they didn't just throw me to the wolves, you get,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but they didn't lay it in my heart that, oh, you shouldn't be doing this.
Okay.
So they were closely watching, and but they just made me be myself and be expressive as a child. They did not kill my the vibrant nature I had, and because I've always been outgoing since I was young. I was
Yeah.
that confident guy. I walk up to people, that, why are you saying this? I did not even know that there's a certain way they looked at me. They I was looking at them like, who are you? Who you? you know so, and I think my sister, when my sister recalls those experiences, she's always very proud of me, because she,
Mm,
she kind of, obviously, she was way older and she knew how the world viewed person living albinism, but it was the opposite for me. So
yeah.
that really gave me the confidence to press on in life. I would say that moving into secondary school and being away from my family, because I went to boarding house, I started noticing one or two things, you get.
Mm,
But by that time, I used to say it was too late, because I already had the foundational confidence. So even when people tried to be funny, I always had a response for them to say, yeah, you get
go band for band.
you get what I'm trying to say. And that really scared them, and that
Yeah.
really put me there and said in my level of respect. So the experience I had, like, from secondary school going on into university, I faced the different phases of experience. All I'm just going to say is, from that time till now, I think that one thing that I did not do as much was, I think I struggled with ableism. You
Mm,
know, I had needs, but
mm-hmm.
I don't think I was as expressive about them as I should have been.
Mm,
Even though I can't blame myself, because the truth is, even if I was expressive, it would have put me in a vulnerable and weaker position because of the society that I was born in.
right.
So that ableism, as bad as it was then,
Yeah.
helped me to become the man that I am. I remember moving to
Mm,
United Kingdom, and I did my masters without, to be honest, and I'm not so proud of it, because I should have, this country would have helped me to make my experience easier at
yeah.
that time. But I was winging it the way I've been winging it in Nigeria. I didn't come to terms that, okay, territory
Yeah.
has changed. You understand? Now you can talk about your needs. You
Yeah.
understand? You don't have to struggle as much. You get,
Exactly.
you get. So,
Exactly.
but that happened. So I think from then to now, what has really changed is me understanding that I'm who I am. I'm still that intelligent, outgoing guy, but I have needs, and it's okay to have needs and communicate your needs, like
Absolutely.
every other person. Needs and peculiarity differs in individuals, and I
Mm-hmm.
should not run away from mine because of what a particular society has termed. You understand?
Absolutely.
I'm proud to say that I'm a person living with a disability, because disability for me, it's not your inadequacy not to be you. It is just that you have some special needs or limit, or there's some minor, and I still call them minor limitations, no matter what it looks like. Because at the end of the day, for whatever you put out on the outside, it starts with your head. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm able to embrace that that I have needs, you get, and
Yeah.
it doesn't make me less of a person, It just means that I'm bold enough to communicate, and it means that I'm very self-aware of myself. So what has changed is that awareness, and that has actually prompted. So even when I'm having conversations with persons with albinism in Nigeria, and I think about persons with disability, and they say, no, I don't have a disability. I understand. I'm not trying to judge them because I know I've been there. You understand? So you can't blame them because
Yeah.
society has made them believe that the moment you identify yourself as a person with disability in Africa and Nigeria, it means that you can't do anything. You get, yeah, I can do this, but I'll just need these certain accommodations,
Yeah.
which is the barest minimum.
Yeah.
You understand? But
exactly.
that's a conversation that we can go on and on about. But I think that self awareness has changed. It has Self awareness has meant different things to me at different phases in my life. I don't know what it's going to look like when I'm 40.
Yeah.
But I know what it looks like now, and I know that it's definitely different from what it looked like when I was 24. So I'm just calling ages here and there.
I love it. I love
I'm
it.
making them guess.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah,
life is continuous. As you said, you continue to have these
yeah,
lived experiences,
yeah,
which then shape your way of thinking.
yeah,
And also, I like that, just viewing whatever people may view as a disability or, limitation, and making that your superpower to then continue to have that impact, to continue to be that positive representation.
yeah,
And yeah, I also like the fact that what you said about also just taking the help that's available
yeah,
when it's available. Because I feel
yeah.
like sometimes we, I don't know where it stems from. I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but
It is
sometimes
a
like
cultural thing.
we see struggle as a badge of honor. Like
Yes,
it's like you have this struggle and that's your
yes,
badge of honor, or
yes.
it makes you more righteous or whatever. And it's like no, like you can actually have a very soft, easy
Life can be
life.
easy.
Yeah.
Life can be easy. I used to say there's a better life out there. For every situation I face, it can be easier than this. And I will always
Yeah.
strive for that easier life. I'm not going to just settle and say this is what it is.
Okay, so final thoughts. My
Hmm,
final question for you then, essentially building on from once again everything that you've shared.
hmm,
For someone who's listening, because the graduate series is about speaking to people out there,
yeah,
be it someone in that industry or
hmm,
someone in that phase in their life. So for someone who is listening, who feels different, who feels overlooked, or who is unsure about where they fit,
hmm,
what would you want them to know that you had to learn the hard way, but that has now helped you to navigate those environments a lot more easily?
hmm. One thing that's coming to my mind is your strengths look different to different people.
Hmm.
There's no general all size fit all definition of a strength.
Yeah.
I think that more young people should try to search within themselves than looking for public validation of what their strength should be.
Mm.
I think that I know everyone was born with a gift and a peculiarity, every single person.
Yeah.
But a lot of young people focus more on what the world is saying
Mm.
than what they have within them. So I would
Yeah.
say, first step is search within yourself. That thing that you are overlooking, that thing that you are saying, "Ah, it's not that much of a big deal," is a big deal. And when you find it, and when you find your peculiarity, do like this: hold it with your full chest. You understand? Lean into it, build it, nurture that gift, that talent, and stay there and be the best at it. If my mom used to say something, if you are the best at scrubbing floor, if you scrub the floor in bed, scrub that floor to your last breath, because that's what's going to open doors for you.
Mm.
I think
Especially
that
because it's not easy to scrub the floor.
it's
Just saying. Just saying.
it's actually not easy. That's another thing.
Yeah.
So lean into that thing
Yeah.
and just continue, because you'll be surprised the things that will take you and put you in different rooms. That thing that you're
Mm.
overlooking, that's the gift that God has given you. That's the
Yeah.
purpose. Purpose looks like different things to different people.
Yeah.
And it's easy for young people to see other people winning and saying, why can't I be? This person does not have two
Exactly.
heads. Why can't I be there? But I promise you, like, the time that you're spending to do that, that's the time you should be spending on focusing on yourself. Because that time spent on focusing on yourself, you would see how far your journey will go. And there will be
Yeah.
moments of realization in your life. Everyone has it for every career. There'll be times that something will happen and you say, I'm meant to be here. Search for those
Yeah.
moments. Focus on those moments than focusing on what another person is doing. And
Exactly.
it will come to you in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Okay, Pastor.
So
I think that's a good place to end.
yeah,
No, that was so beautiful. And yeah, it really, really touched me. And thank you so much for being, one of our guests for this new season of the graduate series and for everything that you shared. It's really, really hit. And I just wish you continued success with everything that you're doing. And I just want to give you an opportunity as well. Do you want to plug your socials? Where can the people find you? And also, is there any exciting project coming up that you want to share with us?
uh so at the moment, nothing so exciting. We are still plotting,
That's it.
but you can find me on TJ Ameen on every social media platform. TEEJAY, Amen with the double E. So it's just say Amen and just put E, two E's. I mean, so TJ Ameen on every social media platform. I'm shy. I'm
Amazing.
shy.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in today, and I hope to see you in another episode of the Graduate Series. If you enjoyed, please support as always. Share with anyone who would be blessed by the video. If you're watching from YouTube, give it a thumbs up, and be sure to leave a comment as well. Let me know your thoughts, what you enjoyed the most, what TJ said today that resonated with you the most. And yeah, I hope to see you all in the next one. Thank you so much.
And subscribe,
Bye.
subscribe, please. Subscribe.
Subscribe. Not me forgetting. Subscribe, subscribe,
Subscribe, please.
subscribe.
Subscribe.
Tell your mama. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends, tell your foes.
Tell your folks. All right then. Bye, guys.